Uh, Good afternoon, dear participants, dear members of our today's conference devoted to teaching English to school children. My name is Олена Казачінер. I work at the Григорій Савич Сковорода Kharkiv National Pedagogical University. My whole life was devoted to teaching children, to teaching English to children. I've been working as a teacher during 10 years, and I was a teacher trainer, and I worked with foreign language teachers. I'm very glad that we are together today. I'm very glad to greet you. And our today's topic is using health-saving technologies at the foreign language lessons. You see, this topic of conversation is very important because, as we all know, health is our wealth. I'm going to show you the plan of our today's session. The first point is the definition of health-saving technology, what is it itself, and their types. The second question is how to use health-saving technologies at the foreign language lessons. And I am going to show you some examples of activities devoted to forming students' health-saving competence at the foreign language lessons. We shall take primary school, basic secondary, and senior school. So let us start. So the first question is, what is health-saving technology and types of health-saving technologies? By the way, let's start with not health-saving technologies, but with health itself. What is it? It is a state of complete physical, mental, social well-being, and not just the absence of diseases or physical defects. So, our health is not only physical one, but also mental and social, right? Certainly, health-saving technologies in the classroom at school is an important aspect of teaching process. This is something that will help children learn the modern school curriculum and to stay healthy. It is very important. Why? Because students spend the majority of their time at school. Yes, they are sitting, they are writing, or maybe reading. And unfortunately, lack of time is paid to using health-saving technologies at the lesson. After the school, students come home, and what do? They have dinner, yes? They play with their mobile phones, maybe, yes? Then they do their homework. They sit. They spend the majority of their time sitting. And that's why a lot of chronic diseases, functional disorders appear, and more than half of the students are in this category. Then, dramatic increase of pathological changes in the nervous system, sensory organs, digestive and cardiovascular systems, kidneys, urinary tract, and musculoskeletal system. All the organs and systems, you see, have changes, and increasing the numbers of students in schools with multiple diagnoses. So the students with 5 or more diseases, and in history there are almost 20% of these students. What is a healthy lifestyle? What is it itself? Yes. Favorable social environment. Spiritual and moral well-being. Optimal motor code, culture of movements. We should involve students into movement. It is very important. Unfortunately, students don't move enough. They don't walk a lot. They spend their time mostly at home, near their computers. Body hardening, balanced diet. It is also very important to pay attention to food, what students eat. They usually, what do? They buy chips, crisps, yes, hamburgers. They buy junk food, and that is all what they eat. They eat lack of fruit and vegetables, unfortunately. Then personal hygiene, refusal of harmful addictions, yes, harmful habits, smoking, drinking alcohol, using drugs, etc. And certainly positive emotions. Positive emotions provide really healthy lifestyle. You see, there are a lot of definitions of health-saving technologies. I didn't give you all the definitions, but the most important I prepared. Health-saving technology according to Sonkin. This kind of technology includes conditions for teaching a child at school. What should it be here? Lack of stress, adequacy requirements, adequacy of training and educational methods. Then, rational organization of the educational process. Yes, according to gender, psychological, age peculiarities, yes, individual characteristics, hygiene requirements, certainly. Correspondence of educational and physical activity with age capabilities of the child. And necessary, sufficient, and rationally organized motor code. Smirnova gives the following definition of health-forming educational technologies. She thinks that they are all those psychological and pedagogical technologies, programs, methods that are aimed at educating students of a culture of health, personal qualities that contribute to its preservation and strengthening, the formation of ideas about health values, motivation to maintain a healthy lifestyle. After Petrov, health-saving educational technology is the system that creates the maximum possible conditions for the preservation, strengthening, and development of the spiritual, emotional, intellectual, personal, and physical health, all types of health, yes, of all subjects of education, students, teachers, parents, etc. And here you see the content of this system. This system includes, yes, the use of student health monitoring data, taking into account the features of the age development of students, and development educational strategy appropriate to the characteristics of memory, thinking, performance, all the psychological processes, creating a favorable emotional and psychological climate in the process of implementing technology. In the classroom, there should be a positive psychological climate. The use of various types of health preserving student activities. There is a classification of health-saving technologies. It is, you see, not the only classification, not only, but the most widespread. Medical hygienic technologies, sports and improving technologies, ecological health-saving technologies, life safety technologies, and health-saving educational technologies. After Sivtsova, there is such a classification of types of health-saving technologies. There are some groups of them. The first group is technologies of preservation and stimulation of health. This group of technologies includes stretching, rhythmoplasty, dynamic poses, mobile and sports games, relaxation, finger exercises, gymnastics for the eyes, eye gymnastics, respiratory gymnastics, etc. All types of gymnastics, and even orthopedic, corrective one. The second group is technologies for teaching healthy lifestyles, physical education, problem playing, game playing, and play therapy, communication games, classes from the health series, self-massage, etc. Correction technologies, the third group. Correction technologies include art therapy. Yes, all kinds of art therapy. Technology of musical influence, fairy tale therapy, even fairy tale therapy, color therapy, behavior correction technologies, psychogymnastics, phonetic rhythm. There is such a definition as health protection educational technologies. It is a systematically organized set of programs, psychological and pedagogical methods of organizing the educational process, including the interconnection and interaction of all factors of the educational environment, aimed at the formation and interiorization of value-oriented attitudes and motivation on leading a healthy lifestyle and health protection, constructed as an integral part of life values and worldview. Dear participants, dear colleagues, if you have any questions, please write them into the chat room, and after the session I'll do my best to answer all your questions. And now we go to the second part of our today's session, how to use health-saving technologies at the foreign language lessons. And let me start with introduction of health-saving technologies in the educational process. What is the first? Dynamic pauses. They are held during classes. They last from 2 to 5 minutes as children fatigue. During the implementation, elements of gymnastics for the eyes, respiratory, finger gymnastics, and others are included depending on the type of exercise. So we can provide dynamic pauses at the lesson, but I ask you, please do not provide dynamic pauses only in primary school. No, they are important not only for primary school, but also for basic secondary and even for senior school, because students work at the computer, yes, and it's very important for their health. Outdoor and sports games, the next, conducted daily as part of the physical education lesson. Not only physical education lesson, we can provide some sport game with English content, maybe at the sport ground, on a walk, in a group room, small with an average degree of mobility. Games are selected in accordance with the age of the child, place and time of its holding, and certainly they are selected in accordance with the topic of the lesson. Again, outdoor and sports games can be provided not only at the physical education lesson, but also at our subject. Relaxation. Relaxation for the mental health of children. A balance of positive and negative emotions is needed. Ensuring the maintenance of mental balance and life-affirming behavior. Our task is not to suppress or educate emotions, but to teach children to feel their emotions, control their behavior, hear their body. That's why we can provide a lot of activities connected with vocabulary, with grammar, and the content, the topic is our emotions. It is also very important. We can use pictures, we can use cards, symbols of emotions, even photos. And now I'm going to show you some poses for kids. We can use them. By the way, we can use, the students can do them. For example, you see upward salute pose, extended side angle pose, cow face pose, lion pose, hero, easy pose, happy baby pose, etc. And these poses include different types of movement. It is very important, again, I remind you that it's very important for students to move. Finger gymnastics conducted individually or with a subgroup of children daily trains fine motor skills. It is very important for training fine motor skills, general skills. Finger gymnastics stimulates speech. Василь Олександрович Сухомлинський always said, the brain of the child is on the fingers, on the end of his or her fingers. So, finger gymnastics stimulates speech, special thinking, attention, blood circulation, imagination, speed of reaction. So that's why it's very important to provide such kind of health-saving technologies as finger gymnastics. It is useful for all children, especially with speech problems. By the way, it is carried out at any convenient time interval. And let me show you one interesting book. This book is for primary school and even for pre-primary children, preschool children. Series first verses, finger rhymes. This book includes lots of finger rhymes, and the teacher can use these rhymes for finger gymnastics. For example, open, shut them. So this is the rhyme, and students can do the activities which are mentioned in this rhyme. Finger plays, some more finger plays. By the way, you can find a lot of finger plays. They're available, so you can find them, you can use them. They can be simple, very simple. For example, for ages from 3 to 6, they are very simple, but they can be also more difficult. Gymnastics for the eyes, carried out daily for 35 minutes in any free time, and don't forget to provide it at your lessons. Depending on the intensity of the visual load, it helps to relieve static tension of the muscles of the eyes, blood circulation. During its implementation, visual material is used, the teacher's display. So you can provide gymnastics for the eyes with the help of different pictures, by the way. For example, touch your eyes. The pictures which show clearly what to do. Touch your eyes, touch your nose, touch your ears, touch your toes. A very simple eye gymnastic. By the way, students revise the parts of their body and at the same time they do eye gymnastics. Some more corrective gymnastics for the eyes, some ideas. The description is here. For example, keen eyes, eyes shooting, nose writing, funny break. By the way, there are a lot of examples. Of corrective gymnastics for the eyes. Breathing exercises. It is carried out in various forms of physical culture and health improving work. In children, oxygen metabolism is activated in all tissues of the body, which contributes to the normalization and optimization of its work as a whole. We have a question: where can we download this book? I think from the internet it's available, so you can put what it is, its name. Let me show you. Finger rhymes. There can be, I think, there can be pages from this book, so you can do this. What else? Some more examples of corrective exercises. For example, a lion or a kitten. Very clear explanation of the activity, and students can do this on their carpets. By the way, if the classroom allows the carpet to be put, so you are welcome. Especially in the primary school, it's no problem to do this. Some examples of speech and breathing exercises. For example, blow out the candle, lazy kitty, mischievous cheeks. The description of these speech and breathing exercises you see. By the way, you can download the presentation with the description. Some more activities which are shown at the pictures. By the way, these are, by the way, breathing gymnastics, activities for breathing gymnastics. You can see with the help of a tongue, with the help of lips, with the help of cheeks and fingers. So you can provide this activity. By the way, it is very nice to teach phonics with the help of activities. We have a question: where can we download this book? By the way, I have already answered this question. You can find this book, you can put its name and see the pictures. By the way, in Facebook group, you can find a lot of books in English. This group is called Book Lovers. There are a lot of great books for children, and I found the book, even the book which shows the sign language to children. It's a children's book, by the way. It's very nice. Okay, what about the lesson? The account of capacitive work. I think that you know that students master the new material and take part in the lesson in different ways, and they get new knowledge from the 5th to 25th minutes. 80% of knowledge they understand, they can they can master the new knowledge, a great amount of it. Yes, 80%. After that, the number of percent is lower. from the 25th to 35 minutes of the lesson, it is 60-40%. And up to the end of the lesson, it is not more than 10%. And some tips of analysis of the lesson in terms of health. It is also very important. How can we analyze the lesson from the position of health saving, the atmosphere and hygiene conditions in the classroom? Yes, temperature, freshness of the air, then light, unpleasant sounds, etc. If we don't hear the sounds, for example, and we watch the lesson, we see the lesson, and we see other students cold or hot, for example, so we can understand that the temperature is low or high. Then, the number of types of educational activities. The norm is from 4 to 7 types per lesson. The teacher should change the number of activities and their activities itself. After mental activity, we can change it into physical one, yes? The average duration and frequency of alternation of various types of educational activities. Number of types of teaching. There should be verbal teaching, yes, verbal work, visual work, audiovisual, independent work, and its norm is not less than 3. Then the alternation of types of teaching. Norm no later than after 10-15 minutes. The presence and selection of a place in the lesson of methods that contribute to enhancing the initiative and creative expression of the students themselves. Students' poses, yes? How do they sit? Is it comfortable for them or no? Physical education minutes, other recreational moments. The students have motivation for learning activities. Yes, the level of motivation should be. Are they interested or no? The content of the lesson contains questions related to health and healthy lifestyle. Yes. And the psychological climate of the lesson. The psychological climate is very important. The presence of emotional discharge. It should be jokes, smiles, aphorisms with comments, etc. By the way, English is full of different jokes. English humor is very specific. At the end of the lesson, you should pay attention to the following. Lesson density. Yes. The moment of the onset of fatigue of students and a decrease in the educational activity. The pace and features of the end of the lesson. There are some technologies for teaching a healthy lifestyle. You see them on the slide. Morning gymnastics, physical education classes, a series of game classes, ABC of health, self-massage, and leisure time. Yes. Correction technologies, articulation gymnastics, technology of musical impact, and certainly fairy tale therapy. And our final part is examples of activities devoted to forming students' health-saving competence at the foreign language lessons. By the way, different English course book includes such kind of activities. Let's start with primary school. For example, this activity can be used like physical gymnastics, yes? Like dynamic poses, like presenting the topic my day, yes? I think that you know this activity. This is the way. Then, if we present students the present simple tense, it's available to use such kind of activity like a test. By the way, in present simple, we use such kind of adverbs as every day, yes, often, sometimes, never, and students should answer the questions and define if they are healthy. For example, how often do you play sport? How often do you watch TV? Etc. By the way, a very good series of course books, Happy Street, Happy House, Happy Earth, Happy Series. The topic is bath time, by the way. We can provide vocabulary devoted to bath time, yes? And some activities in Happy House course book level 1. Students have to find their objects and then color them. For example, a toothbrush, yes, a duck, a brush, a balloon, etc. Matching stick. Students have stickers and put the appropriate thing what members of the family need. For example, shampoo, toothbrush, soap, comb, duck, etc. Then, by the way, here is a song. This course book is full of songs, and one of the songs is Early in the Morning. One more interesting activity devoted to the topic My Day, and the grammar topic is present simple. A very interesting song about how do different animals wash and clean their teeth. Now we come to basic secondary school. It was primary school. Now basic secondary school. For example, we can show students the texts devoted to the facts about junk food. They should understand that junk food is dangerous for the health. And the students read the text, look at the photos again, and answer the questions. What's a junk food fan? Why are fruit drinks unhealthy? Which contains more fat, ice cream or pizza, etc. A lot of questions for discussion. Then, exercise for matching the words from the text with the definition. And discussing the questions. Do you eat junk food? What kinds do you eat? Do you go to fast food restaurants? Why or why not? How often, by the way, we can ask students how often. I like this text, by the way, that's why I gave it to you today, about one of the types of schools as an eco-friendly school, which teaches children to be eco-friendly. And some activities for the text. Read the text again, choose the correct answers. It's like the test. Match the words with the text with the definitions. For example, pollute, cotton, cardboard, hammer, eco-friendly, a container for food or drink, make the environment dirty, thick paper, a heavy tool, good for the environment. So students have to match. And discussing the questions. Do you know where your rubbish goes? Do people recycle things in your country? Does your school do anything to help the environment? The next text, I like it very much too, about environmental problems in Toronto. Here is a short text, And are the sentences true or false? Correct the false sentences. Then some activities for listening and speaking. Look at the picture, find 4 things that waste energy. Listen to a program about the environment in everyday life, how many children follow the program. Listen again and complete the sentence. The sentences. Students have to complete the sentences. And speaking. How eco-friendly are you? Ask and answer with a partner. It's for developing dialogue speech skills. Some more interesting activities devoted to ecological situations. Complete the sentences with the words in the box. Students have to finish the sentences. And complete the crossword. Rather interesting. Then make sentences, use I think, in my opinion, and in my view, and the words in the box. These activities are also good for developing writing skills. And at the same time, students discuss environmental problems and they understand that the ecological situation is also connected with the state of the health. By the way, we can provide lots of phrases which are very useful for future, external independent evaluation, for writing, for developing writing skills. Then, again, environment. You see, I prepared a lot of interesting activities about saving energy, for example, and creating environment, eco-friendly environment. Then again, for developing writing skills, for speaking skills, complete the dialogue with the questions in the box. And the questions are: do you save water? What do you recycle? Do you recycle things? Are you eco-friendly? Do you save electricity? Again, songs. Songs are also good for students, and the songs can also be devoted to different problems connected with ecological situation, with the health, etc. Senior school, and finally senior school. Again, different activities devoted to ecological situation in different countries, by the way. Match the words and phrases with their definitions. Dictionary corner. These activities, by the way, are taken from the lazy course books, levels B1 and B2. Then grammar. Put the verbs in brackets into passive. Find the mistake in each sentence and write the word or phrase correctly. It is the text about picking rubbish. Then write a sentence in the passive. If there is a star at the end of the sentence, don't use by. How are you? By the way, these activities are given in the format of external independent evaluation. So students have to choose the correct word from the variants. Then sport activities. The people below are all looking for a new activity to do. There are 6 descriptions of different activities. Decide which activity from A to F would be the most suitable for each person. There is one extra activity which you do not need to use. So, then some tips for exam practice. Your English teacher has asked you to write a short story for your school magazine. The story must begin with the words, "There couldn't have been a better time for Emma to get toothache." You see Emma, a photo of a girl who is a teenager and she's got a toothache. Yes? How should you write a story? Some tips. Look at the writing task in exercise 1 and answer these questions using your imagination. Write 1 or 2 sentences that summarize the plot of your story about Emma. Compare your plot with your partner's plot and ask each other questions about your stories. So monologue and dialogue speech developing. And finally, dear participants, dear colleagues, we come to conclusion that the use of health-saving pedagogical technologies in the work increases the effectiveness of the upbringing and educational process, forms a value orientation for teachers aimed at maintaining and strengthening the health of students, and the child has a persistent motivation for a healthy lifestyle. I thank you for your attention. I thank you for being with me today. And now it's time for questions. And we're waiting for your questions in the chat room. So if you write, I'll do my best to answer. I thank you very much, and I hope that this conference was very useful for you. All the questions the speakers raised, all the problems which were discussed are very important and useful for you. Thank you very much again. See you later. Have a nice day.